So this is the Roland TM-2, and it's actually a remarkably great little device for running backing tracks in a really subtle way. So the way I'm going to be doing this is by panning the tracks. So the tracks are going to be panned right and the click is going to be panned left. And the reason why we want to do that is because this little device has L mono. Now that basically means that if we had our track on the right hand side, if that were to come unplugged, everything is then like mushed together to put into a mono output. So then our click track, rather than being on the right hand side, will be joined together with the tracks. Whereas if we pan it to the left, that means that if the right's unplugged, which are all of the tracks, they get mushed together into the mono, which is only going to us anyway. So it means it gives us a little safety feature. So that's how we're going to do it. To get this to work, all you need is obviously one of these, the TM2. You'll need 2 jack cables to go out. Now, if you want to be extra fancy, you can get a DI box, but you don't have to because usually venues have those. And then you just want headphones, and you don't even need an adapter. This is the small headphone input, so you can actually just plug your headphones straight in. The only last thing you need is just an SD card to import all of the audio to, because you can't access the internal memory of this. It's a little bit annoying, but there we go. If you'd like to see my opinion on this and whether I think you should buy it, then you can check out the link in the description or click just up there. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure our tracks are right. So here's logic, here's the tracks. I've got click up to a backing track. Now this is just something from Epidemic Sound, so I don't have to deal with copyright and all that sort of stuff. If you'd like this project with the click track and the backing tracks, then you can check out the link in the description. If you're one of my Patreons, then this will be posted there for you and you can download that when this video goes live. So you have all the tracks and the click there ready for you, so you can do exactly like I'm doing in this video. So for now, like I said, I'm going to be planning the click to the left and then all of the other tracks to the right, like so. So now if I play it, sounds a bit weird, but it's still a banger. Anyway, and then all we want to do is just make sure that the markers are lined up to the in and out point. Now you don't really have to do this because it will just export the audio, but I just like to make sure I know that it's exporting in that very place. Just going to hit bounce, then just make sure it's a wave 16-bit 44.1. That's really important because the TM1 does not accept anything else. So I'm just going to export that. What shall I name it? 80s banger. So once that's all exported, we then just take our SD card and put it into our computer. So when the SD card's in your computer, you'll get this. Now I have used this and I have imported some other things that may look slightly different, but if you've used this for the first time, then what you'll have is just the Roland folder. You want to click in here, then you get TM2 because that's what we're using, Wave to show that that's where the audio is, and then you've got all of these folders. Now you can create any that you want. So I'm just going to create one called tracks, and this will show up as a little like category when you're actually using the TM2. So in tracks, I'm then just going to drag in, there we go, 80s banger, and then that's pretty much it. You just eject. Now we're going to take our SD card and put it back in the TM2. I know, crazy. It's going to load for a minute. Or more than a minute. So now I want to import that onto the PD8, which is pad 1. Now once the pad's plugged in, you want to just make sure that it's on the right settings for that pad. So in this case, the PD8. So I'm just going to hold shift and hit inst, and that's where I'm going to get the setup menu for, or the trigger setup. I need the plus button as it's flashing to go into enter. So right now it's telling me that on 1, it's a input head and rim. I can just use the plus and minus buttons to switch that to pad ×2, which does mean that you can use 4 triggers with this, which is great. I'm going to keep that though as head and rim because the PD8 is a dual trigger. Then I can just use the right arrow to get to the type. In this case, it's showing me the RT30K. So I'm just going to change that using the minus or plus buttons to the PDX8. PD8, there we go. And then that's where you can also find the sensitivity and threshold by going through the arrows. I'm not going to do that right now because obviously I'm not set up on a kit, but make sure to adjust this to your liking. Then I'm just going to hit inst twice to get me back to the menu. And now we can actually put the audio onto this pad. So by doing so, I'm just going to hit inst. And now we get the options for this. So you can either press the 1 button to select the pad that you're using, or you can hit it. And I'm just going to hold shift to skip, like load through until we get to SD, and then it'll have the category. So in my case, I named it as tracked, so I can see SD tracks. And now I can see that it says 80s banger. Now wait, we're nearly there, but we just need to hit the right arrow to adjust a few settings. So the level is at 100, so it's the same output volume every single time. Then the dynamics, we want to keep on max or put it to max using the plus and minus buttons to make sure that if we hit it really softly for some reason, it still comes out at max volume. Same with if we absolutely wallop it, still going to be the same volume. Pitch 0, panning. Now we want that to be center because we've pre-panned this track. If we start to shift it, then it starts to do some weird things. So make sure that's on center. Loop off, and then mono and poly, you want to make sure that that is on mono. And that is because if it's on poly, when you hit it, every time you hit it, it starts the track. So it will like layer on top of each other and it gets really messy. Whereas mono means that it'll start again every time you hit it, rather than like layering on top of each other. Offset, we don't want any of that nonsense. Mute group, we don't need that. Note, doesn't matter because we're not using MIDI. Effect send, none, and then we're good. So just press Inst again, and that'll take you back to the main menu. And now is the fun bit of hitting it and seeing if it works. But the problem is I'm over here, and as you can see in the background, my speakers are over there. So I'm gonna walk all the way over there just to check it works. So, oh, I need to unplug it. Hello. I'm not gonna talk too loud because I've got a lav mic on, but this is quality YouTube content. I'm the other side of the room. I'm gonna hit it. In theory, this should be the click track and the backing track because I plugged it into the L mono. Yeah, sick. All right, so now I'm just gonna plug it into the right output, which should be track only. And we're back. And there you go. That's as easy as that. Now I've got track, super clean, sounds great. Wonderful time. You can also book a one-on-one with me, which is quite exciting. So if you have any questions that you'd prefer to hop on a Zoom call, that's in the link in the description as well. But for now, if you have any questions or comments, please lob them in the comment section down below, and I hope you have a fantastic day.